Hey guys, welcome again to another session of these videos. So in this video, I want to talk about how we sabotage ourselves, how we allow different parts of ourselves that are in the shadow, as we call it, to make decisions for us in our lives that are not serving us. And I want to explain that a little bit in depth. So you may make decisions or take certain actions that later on you may look back and think, why did I do that? Perhaps in a friendship or when you meet a new person, you may be extra nice trying to please them. Or if you're in a new relationship or trying to get into a relationship, you may notice yourself doing things that aren't exactly you. So, for example, you would be saying small lies or pretending as if you are better than you are in some ways, trying to impress someone, those types of things. So those experiences are showing us a basic, simple truth is that who you really are in that moment wasn't enough in your own eyes, or who you are was worse than the version of yourself that you presented in that moment. So, for example, you were surrounded by people that you felt were higher status than yourself, and you might have, exaggerated something about yourself in that moment, whether it was your education level, whether it was your financial status. And in that moment, you had essentially split yourself, or that part of yourself that felt unworthy or not good enough, and you separated that from the rest of you. And that part that would remain had to compensate for that part of you that felt not good enough. And so this image came to me in a session with a client recently. And if you can imagine yourself as a tribe. So if you're a man, imagine yourself as a tribe of men. If you're a woman, you can imagine yourself as a tribe of women. Your relationship as a man with other men will affect your relationship with yourself. And your relationship as a woman with other women is going to affect the relationship with yourself as a woman. So, for example, as a man, if I have unresolved issues with my father, I'm going to separate whatever it is that I judge about my father. I'm going to separate that from seeing that and owning that in myself because I don't want to be like my father, let's say. So, for example, if, say, my father is violent or angry or manipulative, I'm going to pretend that I don't have those qualities inside of myself. And what happens? So you have this tribe of men. All these men or women, depending on your gender, represent different parts of yourself. And so some of these men, if you're a man, represent someone who feels unworthy or who feels they don't have enough value for some reason, right? And it could be many, many different reasons. I mean, it's all trauma based. So, for example, could be cultural reasons. It could be for some who, let's say, grew up that men are not as valued as women, for example. You could say, like, well, I'm a man, so I have the feeling that I'm not as valuable. So there's a part of you that's going to feel that way. Right. And again, vice versa as a woman. So different situations for each person is different. But the most important thing to understand is whatever part of you that you cut off from yourself is the part that goes into the shadows. So if you can imagine there's a group of this tribe that's sitting around the fire, and whoever is welcome to be in the tribe gets to sit around the fire. And whoever is not welcome, it gets excommunicated and is not allowed to be by the fire. So all of those people, right? All those parts of yourself that are not allowed to be part of the group, not allowed to sit by the fire. And the fire basically represents love and acceptance and support. What do? Well, they need to survive. They need to feed their own needs. What do? They sabotage. So they sneak around and they collect resources from the tribe, or they manipulate and lie because they're trying to survive because they feel rejected, right? You see. And so in this place, you will never fully embrace who you are, and you'll never heal because you're rejecting. And what happens, whatever you reject in yourself, you reject in others, and vice versa. And so just noticing how you judge others, how you separate yourself from others, will show you the things inside of yourself that you are not accepting, the parts of you that you are not allowing to sit by the fire. And most of the time it's because it's a threat. We reject something that we perceive as a threat. So if something's not lovable, that's a threat. If something's weak, it's a threat. If something is unworthy, it's a threat. If something is ugly, it's a threat. You see, so all these parts of ourselves that we perceive as threats. Now, what we don't realize is that all these different parts of ourselves that have trauma, which is why we project this judgment onto them, they also have gifts. So, for example, a part that manipulates, is also can be thoughtful and loving. It's just contorted because of the trauma. It shows up as manipulative part, you see. So how do we heal from this? Well, the first thing is to understand how having this picture, I feel, is really helpful. Is like this tribe of you. This is all of you, a part of you that's strong, a part of you that's loving, a part of you intelligent, creative, all these different aspects of yourself, you see. And then recognizing which part of yourselves do we reject, which part of ourselves do we judge, right? And also using our environment to kind of inform us. If I judge somebody, it's probably going to inform me of what I judge within myself, because I don't want to admit that I'm just like that, you see. And so the second thing is to, get to know the story behind it. Like, who betrayed you? Who rejected you? This part of yourself. How did you learn? When did you learn that it was not okay? When did you start feeling this way? When parts not allowed to be part of the tribe anymore? When were they excommunicated, right? And then let yourself look in the mirror. Let all of these parts look in the mirror, because let them be seen by the tribe. Allow yourself as a whole to see them. Start to allow yourself to feel that this is part of you, that this is inside of you, that these energies are inside of you, right? And these ways that you manipulate or control or reject or use, that they're all parts of you, and allow yourself to feel that. So feeling that, like, yes, I am just like that. And chances are these are the qualities that you inherited from your parents. So especially the parts of them that you judge. I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to be like these people that I grew up with because I judged them. Start to acknowledge and owning that I am just like them inside of me, that these energies exist inside of me, without shaming them, but owning them, right? Like, they call it the lower self, the shadow. And so breathing through that and letting that integrate within you, embracing them, calling those parts back into the sitting around the fire, saying that I will not accept the behavior of lying, cheating, manipulating, all those things that you do, but I will embrace you into the circle once again, right? And I will love and support you, and I will forgive you, and I will accept you. And that's how self-love is developed. So hopefully that helps you. Thank you for your time. Cheers.